welcome once again. Welcome once again to our health talk here on Tuesday, May 13th. And every Tuesday we have this topic on health that we actually cover different things, different areas. We've gotten some great feedback on some topics that have been provided value to your life. You've taken the time to join us here today. You could have been doing something else. And so today our topic is mental health and cancer, specifically not just one area of cancer, because we know cancer impacts each person differently, whether you're going through it or whether you have gone through it or you have people around you in your circle that have actually experienced it. So sort of understanding how mental health can be impacted when you're going through your cancer journey. Today we're speaking on things, some of the areas I focus on is on breast cancer, which is one of the main cancers that we sort of hear about, and ovarian cancer in women. We do know men experience breast cancer as well, and prostate, and all different types of cancers can impact you, as I said, depending on your stage in your journey. And so this is sort of giving you sort of like a information that I've gathered, and and thank you, Cornell, so much for welcoming each person for joining here today and to be able to engage our guests. Now, feel free again, if you have sent off the invite to someone, it's not too late. You can send the reminder to them if they haven't have not joined us yet, or if they're simply forgotten, because things certainly do happen. So as I share this information with you, again, please feel free to, in the chat box, you can simply place a question, or at the end, we can have a Q&A at the end. And of course, if you're a little bit shy, we can try to answer as many questions as we can offline. And just to give you a little bit about my background, my husband's background, our career path led us from the corporate world. I combined about 36 years of experience in that world, and we sort of transitioned into the health and wellness ecosystem, so to speak, because we were empowering ourselves or families, and we want to empower others as well by adding value in this capacity. So sort of fast forward now, as we delve into the health, we want to encourage each person to be proactive in their health. I know there's certain times in life we tend to be not as proactive because we take things for granted, especially our health, until it fails us. So as we sort of want to think of putting yourself back into the equation, putting yourself back into the picture of your health, because we tend to focus on everyone's health, everyone else's well-being, be the observer of other people, of how they're doing. And sometimes we lose track of ourselves in the way of our health journey. So as I'm sharing this with you, I speak from somewhat of a personal experience, not me personally, but I can share with you. In my family, we've had a few deaths, including my mother and my father, and a couple of uncles on my maternal side that had cancer in their life, but unfortunately they did not survive. Either it was caught too late, or in some cases it was caught just in time. So I do have a cousin who is near and dear to my heart. She is a breast cancer survivor, and thank goodness that they call it at stage 1. But there were certain things that I knew that could help her as well, in addition to her traditional treatment, that would sort of help her in her life journey, her cancer journey. And so for me, being proactive before she even went to do her surgery is one of the things that I find has been really great to help her to keep herself healthy or healthier along her journey. And again, a disclaimer I'm making, I am not a health practitioner. I am not in the medical field. But what I am, and what my husband are, how we are, we engage with individuals, is that we're health enthusiasts. We are passionate about health. I'm sure you are too, but we want to share the goodness in this capacity that will help us in a way that can empower people, including ourselves and our family. So as I share this with you, I just wanted to give a shout out to all of those who have been diligent and committed to coming onto the call each and every week. I know Deborah is one, and so is Maria, and a few others of you. Chantel, shout out to you, Natasha, and a few others. And of course, I see so many more here. So I may not be able to call all your names, but I want to thank you so much for coming in time to being here in your health journey, allowing us to be part of that as well. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. I apologize. There we go. So, for some reason, my Zoom is giving me a little bit of a challenge. Okay, here we go. If you can see the screen, please give me a thumbs up and to let me know that you can see it. You see the screen? We're good? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so as we speak on mental health, it is a diagnosis. And I know I also want to shout out Sister Pat here on the call as well. She is a cancer survivor multiple times. And so she also empowers me to also be proactive in your health checks. And so one of the things I want to share with you is how the emotional impact can sort of mess with your mind and your overall well-being, especially if you're not aware of how you can cope or you're not part of the right group. But actually, at the Pat, if you could also put in the chat, there's actually you have a support group that you sort of encourage people to be a part of if they're a cancer survivor on a cancer journey. Please feel free to put that in the chat so if anyone wants to get additional support, they certainly can. So as we're speaking about cancer, there's always a saying, I have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me, so to speak. But along that your journey, you can develop different things that can psychologically impact you. And it could be a short-term disorder or long term if you don't check it correctly, check in with yourself ever so often to see how you're feeling, or you don't have that outlet to sort of manage your what you're going through. So managing the health and the consequences of a cancer diagnosis can be very life altering. Sometimes we tend to cope and we suppress our emotions, and there's a saying, when you hear someone says I'm fine, really they're not fine, or if they say I'm okay, they're not really okay. So they either don't want to, feel like they're a burden to someone, or they don't want to have people give them a pity party, so to speak, or you find that maybe that they can't quite handle expressing how they're feeling because they feel they'll have an emotional breakdown. So there could be different things that you go through, and it hits each person differently. As I mentioned to you with my mom, she passed away from cancer, and she was diagnosed from a simple nosebleed and jaundice, and within 3 months she passed away. So unfortunately, it wasn't caught in time. There was at her age of not being mobile. There's nothing we could have done at the time. But we try our best to be proactive, but again, things sometimes fall in the crack. And so the stress can come on with cancer for the person who's caring for the individual, or the person who's going through it as well. So managing those psychological effects and be key to ensuring your longevity through your survivorship. And so there are some studies, and again, through all of my research, I go to credible sites. I'm not just searching on Google, but going to credible sites like I go to Harvard or Yale or even PubMed, which is Public Medical Library, or the National Institute of Cancer, even the Cancer Society, or even also, in the Canadian websites for studies that they go through for different conditions, especially in this case, cancer. So in most of the slides you're seeing, there are source, like footnotes where you can see the link. Again, if you want to get a specific link, I can try to send it to you, but you can take a screen capture if you wish to as well. So how do you cope with the strategies for cancer and, and mental health? So again, in the days that we're leading up to chemotherapy or even radiation or any other form of treatment, could be natural or through the traditional therapy sessions that you're going through, you might notice that you're going feeling anxious. And one of the things I can share, which inspired me, is with my cousin when she went for her surgery. She, a woman of faith, of course, she made sure she prayed with the doctors and the nurses before they put her under. So they never saw that before. So faith also comes in, as a strong way for your survivorship, your longevity as well in your survivorship. So holding that faith, but of course you have cracks in those faith, especially if you feel isolated. And so she inspired me when she told me this when she came out from her post surgery and operative for her breast cancer. But that actually just told me that she had a strong resilience. But again, she had moments when she had those moments of anxiety and stress. So just know that you're not alone. That's what I'm trying to say. So coping with some of the strategies for these emotions is basically identifying when you're feeling bouts of sadness or loneliness. You can feel it comes on. It's not something that that sort of it hits you right away. It's like a creeping feeling of feeling isolated through sadness and loneliness. You can't quite articulate what you're feeling, or you don't have a close person. So I would say to you, if you don't have that, reach out or ask even the social worker who's speaking with you after your surgery or during your sessions, is to inquire their support networks that you can actually connect with, like going for like a coffee date or a walk with someone that you know. And you may not have to sort of give all the full details of what you're going through, but sort of someone that you know who has a positive outtake on life, sort of lift your mood. Things like anger and frustration can happen. You can have bursts of anger, and you sort of not angry at what's happening in your immediate eyes, but you have these pent-up angry feelings and frustration, and you sort of it bubbles up until it bursts out, and it's something unrelated to what you're feeling. So be mindful of that. Also, some of the things you can do to get some of those anxious and frustrating feelings from within is to simply get pen and paper and just write down what you're feeling. Even if you have to say, I know, a few cuss words here and there, which I don't really cuss. The running joke for me is that I maybe say 3 or 4 swear words in a year, but I try my best not to do that. But these are things that you feel that you have lost control of your health. And so you may have self-doubt of you could have done something better, or why is this happening to me? I'm a good person. My moral compass is pretty good. So why is this happening to me? Or you may just accept it and you go into a downward spiral of depression. So identifying these, even writing it down, and if you find that you need to have additional counseling sessions with a therapist or even in a support group, and you feel safe to express how you are feeling, your inner thoughts, you can actually share from that journal what you're feeling to sort of, sort of download or to release those negative emotions. Because through studies and different findings, I found that most of your emotional trauma, your stress, where you're actually stored in your gastrointestinal. So I found that through PubMed. So if you're having anxious moment and you feel like your tummy's doing some funny stuff, that's where you're carrying your stress. And of course, you may not have experienced stomach cancer, but you may have had things like breast cancer or going through that type of, or know someone who's going through those emotions. Anxiety and stress also is one of the things that you may find that you're experiencing, and you may think, oh my gosh, I'm having a heart attack, but really you're going through anxiety, and it can manifest in different ways. So there are different strategies you can take to reduce your stress, things like meditation, yoga. I love meditation because you sort of put yourself in a space, a mindset where you're detaching yourself from your physical self and you sort of releasing it, and you feel that you have, renewed energy once you finish that exercise or meditation or even yoga or other some type of self-care activity that you're doing. Taking some time for yourself to help you to distress, a simple bath, a soak in the tub, maybe a little retreat with your friends if you're able to, financial wise, and just find ways to relax so that you can recenter and recalibrate yourself. So beyond the anxiety and depression, it actually can impact you, like I mentioned, long term. And so there's some doctors who may give you, pharmaceuticals to combat your anxiety and stress, which can be a negative at times, especially if you're going through cancer treatment. And so it's a temporary solution for something that may have a deeper undercurrent, impact on you. So if you're looking at how you can think beyond your anxiety and depression, I would say identify what's causing it. There's a friend of ours, his name is Sachin Patel, and he likes to state that we are best doctors. Because if you can identify how we're feeling to the point and write it down, keep track of it, You don't have to be too meticulous, but at least note it down. So when you do go to your doctor to speak to them about what you're experiencing, they can give you the best educated advice, because that's what they're giving you, best educated advice, because no one truly has all the answers, right? So there is such a thing as chemo brain. So chemo brain is a common side effect you may have or you may experience after chemotherapy. So it can include things like trouble concentrating, things like brain fog, memory loss. You have a hard time focusing. So of course the body is highly stressed, of course, and it's you're having a chemical into your body for chemo. So it's like your body has an imbalance. So if you find you have these type of symptoms and you find it hard to make day-to-day, activities or tasks, it seems harder for you to accomplish that because you seem overly frustrated or anxious, note that down. And so there are ways you can help to stay on top of that. It can help you, including journaling, tracking it. If you don't like writing down, get your phone. There's a notepad in there. Put quickly what you're feeling for that day and label it so that you can go back and update as you're feeling throughout the day. Another thing as well is that we, especially as those who are going through the cancer journey, either you're thinking about it, that because you may have genetics, if you're inclined that way, or if you are going through the journey of cancer, or you're experiencing with a friend that you're supporting them, or even post, body image is a major thing. So if you find yourself thinking more negatively towards your body, overly critical, your skin may have changed because of therapy. You can either have darker skin tone, blotches. You can have severe acne. You can have your hair fall out. You can have a change in your body's skin texture. It could be many things. You can have weight loss. You can have many things that can happen to you because each person's body is different, right? So it's okay to be sad. It's okay to have those feelings, but not have that cycle of, and I call it a downward spiral of emotions that is in a long-term basis, because that can impact you negatively for your recovery time. So you want to ensure your longevity as a survivor, even during the times that you are cleared, your 5-year time frame that they look at you to make sure that it's the likelihood of it recurring. You want to have a longer period of longevity so that you're able to have a more fruitful and more balanced life. And so when we say cancer, you have cancer, but cancer doesn't have you, it's the way you think, how you sleep, how you move, how you sort of carry yourself when you're going through your journey. And it's easier said than done, but make that conscious decision to say it's okay to feel sad. It's okay not to be okay. But what can I do to get out of this rut, this mindset? Then you put yourself in a position where you sort of, trick your brain, trick your body to get out of that step by step to rebuild your confidence. Especially if you're a breast cancer survivor and you had a mastectomy, where things are not as that your body once was, or if you had an ovarian where you've either lost your fertility, or you've lost different things in the sense of your hormone disrupting, all of these things. This can have a serious impact on your mental health. So exercising in small doses can help you. Going for those walks. I know for me, when I go for a walk, I'm listening to my motivational books, and in my head, I get re-inspired. I'm listening to my music. It could be a music, any other instrumental, or whatever you choose. That lifts my mood, puts me in a different upward spiral of emotion, which is joy, gratitude, being thankful, and just knowing that you can live again and you can breathe again, and you're able to grab life by the shoulders and says, I may have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. So you feel more in control. So the benefits of exercising that can help you with prevention of cancer, for during your cancer and post-cancer. So as I'm going through this, I won't go through every single line. We can take a screen capture, of course, and you can revisit this at a later time. So things like there's actually strong evidence to show that there's higher levels of physical activity, and this can actually link to lower risk of certain types of cancer. So breast cancer is one of them. I know for sure with my mom, when she went through the cancer, she was immobile. She was bedridden for 2 years until, not for that particular reason. She had a diabetic related stroke, but in the process of not being mobile, not moving, we were told, of course, your immobility can lessen your oxygen level, can actually bring on more diseases. And in this case, she developed prostate cancer, which could have been there, but no other signs except, as I mentioned, a nosebleed twice. So in this part, exercising is a key role in prevention, and so it helps to include altering of your hormones, your growth factors, and how it plays in the cancer development, progression, growth. So one of the key things is improving your immune system. And so I want to throw in one thing here. I'm talking about exercise, but there's actually a vitamin which is really good. We've learned through different doctors, naturopathic doctors, that vitamin D3 is anti-cancer. And it's also called a mood enhancer. So I've learned that I take vitamin D3 because, especially as women of color, we are more depleted in vitamin D3 because we have the protection from the sun through the type of skin we have, which is melanin in the skin. So most of us don't know we're deficient in vitamin D3 because it doesn't come across as what you expect it to be. So, excuse me. So things like reducing inflammation is one thing, because if your body is highly acidic, highly inflamed, it's a better storm, so to speak, of developing disease. Basically, your body is not at ease, greater chance for disease, which can manifest into things like anxiety, stress, cancer, and so forth, and other types of health conditions, health concerns. Obesity is one as well. And so making a conscious decision of trying to do things to help you to be more active can actually help in reducing those, the higher risk of, to lowering your risk of cancer, sorry. So another thing for helping you through your cancer treatment, for example, things like radiation, chemotherapy, you may find you have no energy because you may have a spurt of energy and then you're totally depleted, and you may want to do a whole bunch of things that you know is going to be counterproductive because the brain is accustomed of doing. Triggering signal to your body to do something when you should be relaxing and sleeping or resting. So you may have a longer recovery time with your energy level, but incorporating exercises in limited, small doses, I should speak, can help you with some of the things that you're going through. Now, the things I can share with you is that the different types of therapy may be prescribed through your doctor, or post your surgery, the person who's had the surgeon had done the operation on you. But then I would encourage you to speak as well to your nutritionist, because nutrition is also very important as you're going through not just the treatment, but also your overall well-being. So I would say to you, engage in speaking with a naturopathic doctor, and do your due diligence and see what the best person that can actually work with what you need to do, like meal plans, meal preps, a dietitian. All of that would help you as long as you're able to do so. So some of the treatments can cause a lot of chronic fatigue. You can become anemic. You can become severely nauseous. And I can share with you, when I took my cousin to do her 20 bouts of her radiation, I saw it for myself. And the one thing that was baffling to me is that as you went in, to your right, they were offering things like, chocolate and, sodas, and all of this for free for those who are coming to do their therapy. And we know that's a negative when it comes to people who have gone through the cancer journey. And those of them who are taking, who sort of still have the habit of having a lot of, foods, processed foods, all of this that is negative, counterproductive for your health or your recovery, that was offered. So that was sort of baffling to me on a side note there. But some side effects can be very debilitating depending on your age. And of course, one of the main things is depression, anxiety, which can impact your sleep and decrease your quality of life, because it's a circle, right? A cycle, sorry. So there's substantial evidence that will sort of help you to identify that in doing aerobic and resistance training can actually impact you in a positive way. So it's for people who are going through a cancer journey, which has, you experience fatigue and so forth, and depression, even your cognitive function. These things can you can actually doing these type of activities through your exercise regime that suits your body, your energy level, then you find over time that it's reversing the way how you think, how you sleep, how you move, how you act. And so some of the precautions I wanted to sort of highlight, and again, to your lower left, there's a link through the government, cancer.ca.gov, sorry. You can find when you decide to put together or have someone help you to put an exercise regime for you, is to be mindful of a few things. So things like change in blood work can cause, hemoglobin and your platelets, all your blood cells, all of these can result in fatigue and increased bleeding and bruising. So be very careful, especially when you're doing resistance training. Your heart function, you can find that there's irregularities in your heart function. Arrhythmias, one, chemotherapy can actually damage your cardiovascular system, and the neuropathy. So neuropathy can be developed from chemotherapy because it actually can damage your central nervous system. So it can cause numbness, tingling, and so forth. That can lead to altered sensations in your overall body. So bony metastasis can actually happen if you have a primary cancer that spreads through the bones. So worsening your pain, your joints, all of that. So it's putting more resistance, more pressure on your overall body. So it's a counterproductive for what you need to do to improve your health. So another thing as well is sexual intimacy. A lot of people don't speak about that because they feel that it's maybe a topic that's taboo. And sexual intimacy can be a real concern, especially if you're in a relationship where you find that, one party, one spouse is seemingly healthy, another one's going through the cancer journey, and speaking about how you're feeling, how you want to express yourself, can be very intimidating. All right. So you may experience changing your sexual drive, your sex organs, themselves, maybe depending on the kind of cancer you have. So anxiety is a real thing that can happen, especially when you have a body image or body conscious while you're going through the journey or you're recovering. So I would say to you, have that kind of conversation and sort of set, boundaries and things taboos in the sense of having a judgment-free zone. Set the expectation with your spouse when you're speaking to them, you want to share your concern. I want to share with you how I'm feeling, but without the fear of judgment or criticism, especially with the body language that you may pick up on that more than the verbal conversations you're having with your partner. So I would say to you, start off small and then have an ongoing conversation on that, and so that you can understand their needs and your needs, so that you sort of have that safe space that you're feeling that you can share with your partner. And even beyond the sexual intimacy, I would say to you, you can actually feel that you want to speak to someone who's outside of that relationship. Unless they're a therapist, I would encourage you not to do so, because again, this is between you and your partner. And so if you feel that you cannot speak to your partner, then you can maybe seek external counseling through a therapist that both of you can attend. So that might be my best solution of a way of compromising and speaking to someone about how you're feeling. Another thing too as well is to focus on the positive moments. I know that at times you may not feel positive because you feel that, why is this happening to me? I'm feeling this way, and it's hard because it's a vicious cycle, right? I would say to you, there are things you can do to sort of shift your mood, your mode. And it not only emotions you feel during your journey are going to be negative. You may have moments of joy, you might feel calm, reassured, you have gratitude. You might learn something new about yourself, like your resiliency, to know that you're more than a conqueror, you're an overcomer, that you actually are still standing here strong in the sense of your recovery and your journey to recovery. So those are things that might surprise you. And so it's always good to focus on those things, the things you can control. I would say to you, limit the external negative exposure, especially to news that you listen to 24/7, conversations that are not going to be that are counterproductive, or they sort of move to the negative side of conversation. Starting off your day with a planner, write down things that you're grateful for. I tend to do that. I have a gratitude journal, so I tend to write down what I'm grateful for, whether it's just, breathing, getting up, seeing the world, experiencing new things, the ability to get up and to get dressed, to eat, to move, to take a shower, to fix my bed, different things you can be very grateful for. It could be the smaller things, right? You're enjoying a cup of yogurt, or you're enjoying an apple. You're able to eat that because not many people have, ability to eat the way you do. And so there are many things that you can think that you're grateful for. So that sort of puts your mind or shifts your mind from focusing on the problem that your body is experiencing. So it sort of helps you. I remember there's in the book The Secret, there's a section in there. I watched a video, and there's a lady that was diagnosed with stage 3 or 4 cancer, and she shut out the world. She shut down all sort of forms of news, and anyone around her were not allowed to speak negative. And she listened to all the music that she enjoyed, and she actually, during her chemo session and making the right choices with her food, she had a reverse in her numbers when she did her test when going back for her remission, and those things helped her to a faster recovery time. So there is power in the way you think and the way you move, because everything you thinking create form. The words you speak create something. So be careful with the things you say, the things you do, the things you think, because that can impact your health in a negative or positive way. And that will help you as you go along your life journey, especially for your mental health. So this is not just for people who are going through cancer, it's just for everyone on a whole. And these are things that will come in time, because for myself, I had to take that journey as well, to go through how I'm feeling, how I'm thinking, and just everyday life, just to grow into becoming the best version of yourself. So some of the things we sort of have people who are going through this cycle of, you're going through cancer or post, or even you may have a cancer scare. You may ask yourself, well, will the cancer come back? Will I be able to go back to work? Will I have the fortitude, the wherewithal to do that? Will I be able to take care of my family, especially if you're a one-unit family, a one-unit parent? Will I be able to pay my medical bills if you have to, for example, additional treatment you have to take that's not covered onto your health program? Some people don't have insurance for additional long-term treatment. For example, my father-in-law, he passed over 80 something, but he was diagnosed with cancer and he retired. But thankfully, with his program that he had, he was able to get his ongoing treatment, which one needle costs about $1,000. So most people don't have that ability. So in his case, he was able to get it once a year for that treatment, but not many people, like I said, are as fortunate to do that. So another thing as well, you may ask yourself, how will it affect my marriage or your relationship with your spouse or your partner? And so these are things that can trigger things like post-traumatic stress disorder. They can cause anxiety. So you're feeling overwhelmed. You may feel like scared. You may find that you're in out into the world with people and you have these moments of anxiety. You feel scared. You feel you're in a dangerous situation because that the mind sort of is altered in the way you think. And so this stress disorder is not just for people who are going through cancer, but it's something that you may not even identify that you're going through. So I would say to you, speak with a holistic practitioner, or speak to your therapist who delves in the world of psychotherapy or psychologist, and then or speak to your doctor that they can refer you to, and this will help you on your health journey. Another thing as well is loss of connection. The loss of connection can happen where you feel isolated. So who's looking out for you? You may have all the support whilst you're going through the therapy, or before you were diagnosed, or if you have a limited amount of support post your operation or post your therapy for a few weeks, but then you may have where they want to see you in remission for 5 years, for example. And so all of that, you may not have the support you think. So you're asking, the inner thoughts might be, who's looking out for me? It's a common question, and it's a valid question, right? Because you may be the go-to person in your family. You may be considered the pillar of strength in your family. So people may think that you're strong and you can handle it, but whereas you may be the person who needs the biggest support, especially in this situation, right? So you may miss the steady support you may have, especially if you're speaking with a social worker who's helping in that area. And so this may cause worsening depression symptoms that you think you may or may not be able to handle. And this not just people with ovarian or breast cancer, just overall, loss of connection if you're going through a health crisis. And so, of course, I found this through PubMed. You can take a screen capture of that. Another thing as well is denial. A lot of people are sort of in denial because they're going through this. So they sort of check out mentally, or they may accept it. So accepting is one thing, but not accepting a death sentence is another, in the sense of you accepting that this is what's happening to you, but you're going to get through it. And so that positive mindset comes again, and also a commitment therapy. So there's something that is actually identified in the field that can help you in the medical field. Help is called a commitment therapy for fear of recurrence. And so you can speak to your doctor about that, or the person who's helping you with your therapy, the institute that's helping you with your cancer journey, and speak up, because if you don't speak up, they don't know. So things like storytelling can help, especially with caregivers who can help with coping with stress. In my case, with my mom, because she was going through my case of dementia and a stroke that was related to diabetes, they referred me to the Alzheimer's Society. So you have groups of community groups within your community can actually refer you to the right group to help you. But if you don't know, as I mentioned, there's someone here who has a group of support that it can help you through it as well. So storytelling is one, exercising together is another. If you're not able to go out, especially if your immune system's really low, once you're going through your recovery, you can actually maybe pair up with people through WhatsApp or even through, private groups. So you can do exercise online to sort of keep you to get that togetherness, right? Or going for walks, make sure you wear a mask, things that'll help you to sort of cope better and more effectively. One thing I want to have you keep in mind is to also set realistic expectations about yourself. Give yourself a break. Don't be so hard on yourself. Even if you have to take a little downtime, do that, but try to avoid the should have, I should do this, I should do that, but also set the expectation that you're not, a superhuman, you're not a superwoman. You do need to take those breaks. And if it doesn't feel right for you, especially overcommitting yourself, then don't do it. Learn to say no or not right now, so you can take care of yourself and have a faster recovery. So managing fear of cancer recurring or spreading is very common, and also finding ways to cope. That's also something that you also will have to consider as to what works best for you. So managing stress through cancer treatment is something that can help you in your survivorship, so to speak, as your longevity. So stress is a real thing that can happen to the body, but it manifests itself in different ways in the body. Some have chronic stress. Could be stress related from the breakdown of your body because you're going through a health scare, or it could just be minimal stress you're going through. So things like I mentioned, like journaling, even having a voice notes, these are things that can help you. But what I want to share with you now is not only just exercising and thinking right and moving right, it's also eating right, consuming the right foods, things that that can help you with your cancer recovery, because you're taking sort of medication, whether chemo, radiation, all of these things can have a negative impact, not just killing the cancer cells, but also damaging your healthy cells, your organs, impacting your blood, your bones, everything. So if you can actually choose the right foods, including a superfood, I would say to you, you can do that. So you can do your own diligence. But I want to share with you one of the superfoods that I actually gifted to my cousin, which she was able to consume before her surgery, during her radiation and post, that helped to protect her organs when she was doing her 20 bouts of radiation, also protected her immune system. And she also added more things to that, because everyone needs to know what you should and shouldn't take when you are actually consuming certain types of food, especially heavily processed food, which is not good for the body, especially for the recovery time. So here am I introducing you, discovering our wellness with Organo, our company which we represent. And so my husband and I, we are passionate about this particular superfood, which is called Ganoderma or reishi. And we also have two other amazing superfoods we'll share with you shortly. So just practicing mindfulness through positivity, wellness is one of the things we want to encourage. But just making one small change can leave a lasting impact in your body and your overall well-being. So these are the three superfoods I want to mention to you that we're so passionate about. The Ganoderma, for one, that's one thing I can share with you, is that Health Canada, and 31 other certifications that we have, 32 in total, we have this amazing certified, 100% certified organic Ganoderma, also known as reishi. The number one thing it does is support your immune system. And speaking with naturopathic doctors, I've since found out, and also through the public medical library, is that it supports your organs. It helps your organs. It helps to detoxify your body from things that are basically not good for you. And it actually helps you with your overall well-being, but also has many other benefits, including anti-cancer, things like for mood and so forth. But cordyceps is also a mushroom that can help you with your energy level. I mentioned before, you go through a cancer journey, you may have moments of fatigue, you may have moments where you're totally drained, you have no energy. This actually helps you and much, much more. And it helps you with living a healthier lifestyle. And then the main thing it does, it helps you with your brain, your focus, supporting your health, energy, healthy, giving you healthier, clean energy. But also it has a brain and gut connection that helps you with that ability to heal itself as well. So here I'm showing you in the next couple of slides before we wrap up, is the number one thing I want to share with you is that it is a food supplement, but also classed under a medicinal mushroom with no known side effects. Even if you're taking medication, if you're taking things for any other condition, it actually helps to support you in addition to what you're taking if you're taking Western medication. Even in Japan, other places, for example, for heart, for stroke, for other things, cardiovascular, for cancer, they would suggest that you take reishi to detoxify your body from the negative effects of those medication, in the meantime supporting your body. So the anxiety, it actually helps with that. It helps with inflammation, so anti-inflammatory. It helps with your depression, so it has depression type effects. Then it helps with many other things, but these are some of the studies I found. Now, I mentioned before the Ganoderma. Ganoderma actually goes into 3 stages. The root, which is called mycelium, the fruiting body, which is called Ganoderma, as well as the spores. And the spores themselves actually can only be grown or regenerate in a pristine, natural environment where nature intends for this mushroom to grow. You can go on the websites, different places, and you can see it, different quality of it, but some are grown in plastic bags, not us, but it actually is considered organic as well. And these spores cannot regenerate in that environment because it's not as nature intended. But in our case, when we have this particular spores, it's actually 17 times more potent than the actual fruiting body. So that has been known through the PubMed studies. Again, here on the slides I'm sharing with you, the sources you can find through the public medical library, which is open to everyone. And so it helps with to enhance your mood. It helps with major depressive disorder or chronic or mild stress. It also can complement or be an alternative medicine for whatever it is you're going through in the way of this particular situation. We're speaking about mental health. And so it also improves your depressive behavior. It actually helps with sedative, so it helps to calm you down. It also helps with your pain levels. You have bouts of pains, as I mentioned before, in some conditions with cancer, you may have bone pain, you may have joint pain, you may have different types of pain in your body. It actually helps to reduce inflammation, reduce the pain level in your body. And so Ganoderma also helps with anti-insomnia. I mentioned before that if you're going through issues with sleep because you're going through radiation or any types of therapy, you may find with your stress level and all of these that you have the inability to sleep. So it helps to reverse that, to calm your body down. And so it helps with many other things, and this like over 3,000 case studies in PubMed studies, but I've described a few. And I mentioned before that the Ganoderma helps with the limeades, help with the gut. So does Ganoderma. So it sort of protects your coating of your lining of your stomach, but it helps you through promoting sleep through your gut bio function, which helps you to be able to release the stress level in your body and access the serotonin associated with your pathway. So Ganoderma, the mycelium, the spores all help with anti-fatigue, which helps you with your sleep and provides you better quality of sleep over time. And as I mentioned before, that we all go through different cycles of health. So Everyone's body is different, but one thing I can say, the body does not lie. It tells you exactly how you feel. So if you're giving it the right thing, it will present itself in your body of becoming better. If you're giving it the wrong thing, it's going to tell you exactly how it's feeling in the negative way. So also for the spores here, it shows it helps with improving restlessness. Some people may have things like neuropathy, nerve damage. It helps with that as well. In addition to not only sleep disorders and, being having forgetfulness, it helps with that as well with the brain function. So many of these are some of the benefits of it. But one thing I can say for you, it's that it's very high in antioxidants, very high in the things we need for our body, because most of the food we eat that we buy from the stores, they are depleted in the amino acids or even the vitamins and minerals we need because of the soil where it's grown. So, for example, let's say you love avocados. You may eat a quarter of a or half of a avocado, and that's your what you have for your serving. Well, you need 7 whole avocados to get the equivalent of what you need for one single dose of the Ganoderma into your system. It has over 150 antioxidants, whereas one avocado has 7. So you need to have, at least eight or 9 whole avocados to get the amount of antioxidants you need, just to put things into perspective, right? So the superfoods we speak about here, there's other superfoods on the market, but these are the 3 we're focusing on. These are the ones we know of. These are the ones we've been consuming for over 12 years. These are the ones that we're sharing with people who are giving us great feedback to improve their healthier lifestyle choices. So we know that it is a thing that we are concerned about. Are we getting the right, vitamins? Are we getting the right, minerals? Are we getting the right antioxidants? Are we getting the right? We don't know, because the way the foods we're consuming are low in those type of nutrients. So that's why we take supplements like vitamins or multivitamins, but we don't get all of it because it's a small percentage per capsule. And most time we actually pass it through because the body may or may not need with that. Some people have needs more than others in certain vitamins. So again, this gives you a overall well-being of what you're consuming as a food supplement. So things like antioxidants, terpenoids, flavonoids, these are all part of your foods that you eat already. We may not know the technical nerve terms, but we know these help our body, but are we getting the right amount? So these come in capsule forms as well, so vegetable casing, in case you are inclined to take things that are like 100% natural in the sense of casing of instead of gelatin. So these actually have the powder forms that you can consume. Please note that Ganoderma, if you were to just boil it down in a tincture and drink it, is very bitter. If you know there's things like bitter bush or bitter bark that you can consume, you can't consume it all the time because it's so bitter. This actually, the way it's processed, you don't taste the bitterness. You consume it and get the benefits without the bitterness of the actual liquids. So for us, we love it because if you're like me, I don't like anything bitter, but I want to get the benefits. So things like I mentioned before, the sleep, and of course, you're prolonging your life. One thing I want to mention to you with the fruiting body of the Ganoderma, it helps increase your sleep time, especially your REM time. It helps to change it from non-REM sleep, a light sleep, to a deeper sleep because you're giving your body what it needs. So we need to rest and recover when we're going through these life-altering health scares, right? So cordyceps is another one I mentioned before. It helps with symptoms in patients with depression. It helps also with your immune system, but also your libido. I mentioned before that there may be sexual concerns in the way of intimacy because you're going through a cancer. You may have lost your libido, or you're depressed, you don't feel overly sexual, especially with your body image. So taking something that can help you to support you in the way of your stamina, helping you with your overall well-being, while giving you anti-inflammatory effects on your body and improving that, including your memory, helps you with your physical enhancement, hence enhancing your energy and your physical performance, especially if you want to start incorporating light exercises as you're going through your cancer journey. And so these are things I would highly suggest that if you're feeling this way, you know someone who does this, these are all natural with no known side effects. I mentioned there's over 3,000 case studies, right, of this particular, these three, just for Gandam alone, it's over 3,000 studies and more. But I would say to you, I can share with you the information, but unless you consume it yourself and have the experience, no matter what I say, it's basically me sharing the testimony versus you having the experience. And again, everyone's body is different, so you'll be able to be the best testimony, the best evidence of what you're going through. Lion's Mane, I actually love this now. This is one of my all-time go-to. We have it in one of our beverages. We have all three actually in one beverage. And I found when I drink this, my mental clarity, it just changes. Like I can feel the instant change. And for me, I find that I'm more mentally alert and my cognition and become more solution orientated. That's how my brain works. But I find when I'm fatigued, not so much. But I actually love this because it helps me with my mood as well. And I'm not the best at sleeping the full 8 hours. So it actually helps as well. I like that, even though it's in this form. So here's one of our main superstars. It's called Royale. It comes in the form of a coffee, which is a blend of Arabica and Robusta coffee, which helps. These actually help to reduce the caffeine impact on your body. I know some people say, well, I can't have coffee, it's a stimulant. Well, the great thing about the actual herb is that when it's fused into any of our products, it actually gives the beverage you're consuming, whether it's cocoa, coffee, teas, it actually negates the negative effects of caffeine. So no heart palpitations, no jitters, no caffeine crash, because you're getting the energy you need from the good source or the better source, which is the mushrooms. But it is a delivery mechanism to get into your body. And so I want to share with you that the difference in absorption rate with our products versus others is, think of it this way. You actually would go to a coffee station in the a coffee bar in a gas station and you get a cup of coffee. Where you go to, let's say, Starbucks or another place, you get a different type of coffee and they taste totally different. One's more acidic, may not be best source of water versus a Starbucks, another location. So the quality of that is different. So think of this now as the Ganoderma, where we have is grown on plum logs and is given spring water, have a great environment, lower in sort of environment pollution or no pollution depending on where it's growing in the mountains. And it is harvested at different stages versus one that is grown in a plastic bag and it's considered artificial but organic as well, certified organic. For a pesticide, that's the main thing. But the absorption rate for the naturally grown is 99% that it stays into your body, whereas the one that's not naturally grown but organic is 4 to 14%. So you're getting maybe a lesser quality, lesser price, but less impact in the way of goodness into your body. And so another one here is the teas. If you're not coffee inclined, is that you can consume the cordyceps and the reishi or ganoderma into the red tea. And what I love about these products are when you brew it, steep it, drink it, or the coffee, just basically adding hot water. I'm having my king of coffee here. It's one of the beverages we have, is that you're getting the goodness, you're enjoying the flavor of the gourmet beverages, but you're getting the benefits. That's like a side benefit, right? And so the benefits you're experiencing is not for the one-time enjoyment of that cup. It's a long-term benefit that you're experiencing. So here's one, the red tea. We have different flavors. So I like to say whatever your palate, your taste buds like is what you gravitate to. I first started off with mocha because I was not a coffee drinker, but I love chocolate. And I gravitated to the green tea. I gravitated to the mocha because that's what I was shared with me in the beginning. I stepped away from the coffee until I started drinking the King, small doses until my tolerance increased. And now I love the King of coffee. So for me, there's different flavors. So if you'd like to try one for yourself, the person who invited you, try a box for 30 days. Try something for yourself to see that what you're experiencing. And so we can never tell you to stop drinking coffee or tea, even if your doctor tells you it's not healthy for you. But what we can suggest is to keep the habit but switch the brand and then see for yourself what it does for you. Now we do have promotions running off and on. I think for now we do have a program where you can get 25% off of the products when you purchase them through the person who invited advise you through their website, and you can reach out to the person to help you. So as I wrap up here, I just want to make one major announcement. I'm so excited to say that we're having a live in-person event, July 26th, here in Ajax, Ontario, where we're going to be sampling the products, speaking on health. You're going to have health experts coming in to speak as well. And so we have different products in our ecosystem that you'll be able to see, ask questions, learn about. So this is the date, July 26th. I would say to you, save the date. And of course, we'll follow up with the link once you go through Eventbrite so that you can actually be a part of this amazing expo. And we're so excited to invite you one-on-one and to see you in person as well. So with that, I want to stop the presentation. Is there anyone who has any questions that they'd like to ask? And whilst I read the information through the chat. Oh, I see here. So, Pat, thank you so much. So in the chat, Pat put the actual breast cancer support service. It's the Olive Branch of Hope. She put the link in there so you can click it there so that that would be a great support to get the support you need, especially for people who are going through it, or people who are caregivers, I'm assuming. Also, oh, I see here, Natasha, you survived, so you're still here. Thank goodness. Congratulations. You've had multiple cancers, so I want to thank you for being part of this. You are a warrior. You're more than a conqueror, so I'm so happy for you. Kudos to you. Sending a nice applause, because it's not an easy journey, but you're here. So that showed me that you're resilient and that you have staying power. So any questions for me before I wrap up of this this call today? Any feedback you'd like to give?
Good night, Kerry-Ann. I would just like to say thank you for this information and the time you took to find the information. And every time I learn something new, I learn something new.
Thank you. And I know you're going through your health journey as well with your surgery. And
Yes.
I wish you much recovery, fast recovery. And I know you mentioned to me you're taking the spores for your pain management. So
Yes.
that's the great news for me to hear, because I know that we're doing something amazing with this health talk. Anyone else have questions before we wrap
Yes.
up? Okay. Well, thank you so much once again. Have a great day. I'm actually going to put I'm actually going to create the event in our customer group on Facebook, so you can get the dates as a placeholder. And once the actual official flyer comes out, we'll post it. But for now, we'd love to see you there, and then so we can meet and greet as well. All right. So have a great day, everyone. Take care.